The Atlanta Braves get a massive win, taking down the Minnesota Twins 6-4 on Friday night. Let's break the whole thing down on the Braves Postcast.
This is the Braves Postcast, your instant game reaction for the Atlanta Braves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into the Braves Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta, where we cover your Atlanta sports teams each and every day. I'm your host, Lindsay Crosby. You can follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. He's Jake Mastroianni, host of Locked On Braves. Follow him on social media at Shortstop Ball. And Jake, I am excited to hop on here and talk to you because the Atlanta Braves take down the Minnesota Twins 6-4 in a game that looked like it was going the wrong direction for 8.5 innings. It's 7.5 innings, I guess. Atlanta comes around, big 8th inning. They score 5 runs, end up taking down the Twins.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking pretty grim there after how things ended in Toronto. And then, as you said, for 7.5 innings in this one, I know you were getting ready for it. I was getting ready for it to just bash this offense and another just terrible performance. And then in 1/2 inning, how quickly things can change, Lindsay. Here we are excited talking about how great this offense could be. Maybe things are turning around. Might want to pump the brakes a little bit on that, but at least for the moment, what a big win. I mean, they had to have something like that happen. Hopefully it does lead to more, but at least for tonight, a big win for the Atlanta Braves. And like you said, kind of turned the narrative around with just 1/2 inning.
Yeah, I think the big thing about the 8th inning, when you look at how that whole inning developed, is Atlanta already had 1 run on the board from a Jared Kelenic homer. It's probably not who I would have picked to have hit a home run tonight, but it happens. Atlanta scores their 5 runs without a home run. And for a team that we've discussed, so many of their runs come, it feels like, via solo shot. And they'll hit 3 home runs and they'll lose 6-3. That happened this week. They go, Marcell Ozuna draws a 1-out walk. Matt Olson singles. Ozzie Albies singles, which scores Ozuna. Sean Murphy draws a walk. It was all of the things that we've been asking for this team to do. They're shorting up, and Michael Harris shoots a ball down the right field line. The Braves give Drake Baldwin a pitch hitting appearance. He comes through with an RBI single, just crushed that ball off the bat, 109 miles an hour. Seeing how they were able to get it done in the 8th inning, that 5-run 8th inning, does it give you a little bit more confidence that this team can do more than just try to hit home runs every day?
Again, I'm not going to take 1/2 inning and say that it's completely turned around, but for 1/2 inning, they at least did it. And it at least opened up the ability to do other things. One thing that I really even liked in the inning is you had runners on the corner after the Michael Harris hit, and Drake Baldwin's up, who's not a fast runner. And what does Harris do? He takes the double play out of the equation and steals a base. I love seeing that right there, because at that point you're tied. And so, a couple of innings ago, it might have been the inning previous, Michael Harris leads off the inning with a hit, and he just stands there at first base in a 4-1 game. I didn't love that, but again, when you tie it up, it gives you the ability to be a little bit more aggressive. They just haven't been in those situations with this offense. And I feel like at this point, with the way the inning was rolling, it allowed the players, it allowed Snitker to kind of relax a little bit and do some different things. You saw him pinch hitting there for Drake Baldwin. With Drake Baldwin, you saw some stuff like pinch running with Eli White, stuff that I've been asking, and I know you have too, been asking them to do. And so hopefully that is something that can happen. It's just the offense hasn't put themselves in many situations to be able to do those things, I think. So, it was great to see it, see them get it done. I'm not trying to pour too much cold water on what's a really exciting night, but I do need to obviously see it going forward, because up until that point, it had essentially been 3 whole games where all 5 of their runs scored during that time frame were by home runs, and they were all solo home runs up until that 8th inning. But it was great to see it. Good to see, Snitker pull the right strings there in that 8th inning and them get it done. Love to see it. Just want to see more of it.
Yeah. And to add to that 8th inning and some of the different things that they did, Stuart Fairchild originally tries to bunt to sacrifice everybody over before. I think the bunt hit him, and that's why they called it back. He ended up striking out.
Still in the box, I think.
Yeah. But he like trying to do different things. Now, there's probably a little bit of a question about, do you pinch hitting for the only guy to that point in the game who had really given you offense in Jarred Kelenic, but neither here nor there. The point is Atlanta absolutely does that. Alex Verdugo led off in this one, goes 0 for 5, one strikeout. I'd say, though, not for lack of trying. He has 2 lineouts, a ground out and a pop out. His first 2 batted balls, 101.1 and 104.4, and they're both caught for lineouts. So welcome to the Atlanta Braves, Alex Verdugo. You'd fit right in already.
Yeah, unfortunate. He gets that bad look right off the bat. I was a little surprised they just shoved him right there in the leadoff spot. And didn't want to ease him in at all. That puts a lot of pressure on the guy to kind of deliver. I mean, he's a big leaguer. He's a veteran. He's been in the big leagues for a while, but that was a bit of a curious move. And then Riley's second. I know Riley had been swinging the bat great really up until that finale in Toronto, but I think Ozuna and Olsen have given you the most consistent at bats throughout the year. So I would have rather seen those 2 pushed up and maybe Riley in the third or fourth spot, depending if you stick with Verdugo in the leadoff. But yeah, I mean, he's glad he's there. I know he did strike out once tonight, but he's a guy that generally is going to at least put the ball in play, which I think this lineup needs more of. Look, the Braves, I said this on the podcast today, the Braves don't have a leadoff hitter. So they're trying whoever they can in that spot. And like I said, at least Verdugo is somebody that's going to put the bat on the ball. But, if those guys on the bottom do get up, I'd rather have Ozuna. I'd rather have Olsen coming up. I know they're not your prototypical 1-2 hitters in the lineup, but I just think they give you your best chance right now.
Yeah. I think the final kind of takeaway that I had from the offense here was 1 extra base hit, right? 8 hits, 6 runs, 1 extra base hit, and that was the home run from Kelenic. So different from how the Atlanta Braves have done it. To your point, not enough to say they're fixed, but definitely something different. In just a second, I want to talk about the pitching. We had a Bryce Elder start, and he was very much Bryce Elder in this one. We'll break that down next, right here on the Braves Postcast. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time. With Upwork, you can find specialized freelancers in marketing, development, design, and more. Experts ready to help you take your business to the next level. Upwork gives businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries: IT, AI, web developing, marketing, things like that. Whether you need extra hands for a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. So visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That's Upwork, UPWORK.com. That's Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Okay, Jake. So to open this game, Atlanta was in that hole where they had to have that comeback because they got, not going to call it the bad Bryce Elder, but they got they got what we expected from Bryce Elder. He goes 5 innings in this one, 6 hits, 4 runs. He walks 3, he strikes out 3, gives up 1 home run on a hanging changeup that just caught the absolute middle of the zone. And like four runs in 5 innings, it's not the worst in the world, but it feels like at this point in the season, you've got to have better options, like an AJ Smith-Shawver, over using Bryce Elder for, to start every 5th day.
I mean, you would hope so, but I don't know that they do have better options. Like you said, I mean, AJ Smith-Shawver is maybe the only better one. I know he had a pretty decent start at AAA, but just looking at the stats on it, I mean, it wasn't an overly dominant performance from him. But you're right. I mean, I said this too on the podcast. If Bryce Elder can be 5 innings, 3 earned, or 6 innings, 4 earned, that's about what I think you should expect and hope from for a guy that's, your 6th starter, really. That's just what he is. And I think if he can give you that, that's fine. Obviously this was 5 and 4, a little bit more than I would like to, and when only going 5 innings, but he kept the team in the game. And look, before the 8th inning happened, I was getting ready to come on here and say, Bryce Elder at least kept the team in the game. 4 runs should not be insurmountable with a game that is started by Chris Paddack. You can't go no hit against Chris Paddack for 3-4 innings, whatever it was. I was getting ready to come in here and just rail on the offense, but fortunately they turned things around. But I think the point still stands is that this game wasn't going to completely be on Bryce Elder in my eyes. For a guy that's your 5th or 6th starter, 5 innings, 4 earned. Yeah, it's not great. I would love to see him do better. I would love for the Braves to have something better. But again, especially when you consider what's on the other side, it's not like you were facing, MVP Randy Johnson over there. It's, it's Chris Paddack. You should be able to do something against him. And they just weren't. But fortunately, they were able to get to the bullpen late. But yeah, again, it comes back. I was not ready to come in here and put this game on Bryce Elder.
Yeah, and Chris Paddack, after 1 run on 3 hits across 5 innings, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, he lowered his ERA to 7.27. So, small sample size, yes, but to your point, absolutely a game where Atlanta's offense should be able to do more than they did in the beginning innings. Obviously, you can kind of absolve a lot of that because the Braves do win. I did get a little bit concerned. Rafael Montero was up and throwing in the 4th inning. And I think I put this out on social media. I said, if you're going to keep Bryce Elder up over AJ Smith-Shawver, you at least need to make him throw 5 innings. Like, you can't pull him that early at the start of a 6-game homestand. You can't pull him that early. He made it out of the 4th. He pitched the 5th without too much additional issue. Aaron Bummer, this is a thing Snit's been doing a lot more of, I've noticed. Aaron Bummer pitches an inning in a 3rd. He faces 4 batters. Eniel De Los Santos comes in the middle of that inning, finishes up the 7th, comes back for the 8th. I know at the time you were losing, but do you think that this is Snit's way of trying to get a little bit extra out of the relievers that he thinks he can trust? Or is there some sort of strategic advantage to this that I'm not quite thinking about, like the 3-batter rule?
Going back to spring training, he actually did this a lot in spring training games. And I remember seeing it then and thinking, what is he just trying to see who can handle getting back up as a reliever, who can handle going back out there? But he's carried that strategy over into the regular season. So maybe that's kind of what it was to get relievers adjusted to getting that down and then back up, coming back out for another inning for maybe another batter or 2. But that has been a strategy of his so far with this bullpen. I'm still on the fence of whether or not that's good or not. I think we've seen some mixed results with it. Obviously tonight it worked out perfectly and that's great. But I know we've seen some other times this season where it hasn't been the case. You've seen, I believe it was Dylan Lee who came back out for another inning. First batter he faced, it was a lefty. Makes sense. I think it was Jake Cronenworth back in San Diego, but he gives up a home run and they lost that game. So again, I think it has to be pitcher by pitcher and who is better able to handle that, sitting down, getting back up for another inning and still having that intensity. I don't know that all relievers can just do it right out of the gate. They got to kind of be adjusted to that. But yeah, I think it's absolutely become a strategy of Snickers. Like I said, he did it a lot back in spring training and it's carried over into the regular season.
Yeah. And okay, so final score, Atlanta 6, Minnesota 4. Braves take the 1-0 lead. They still have not won back-to-back games. So tomorrow you have an opportunity to do that if you can get vintage Chris Sale, right? Chris Sale takes the mound for you opposite righty Simeon Woods Richardson. That game, 7:15. Good news is not an Apple TV game. So most of Braves country should be able to watch this. And then the series finale wrapping up on Sunday afternoon, Joe Ryan versus Grant Holmes. The goal here should be for Atlanta. You should win this series tomorrow, right? Like this is something where you need the win. You need to get that back-to-back win monkey off your back. But take this series tomorrow and be in a position to maybe sweep on Easter Sunday.
Like I said at the beginning, this game is great and we all should be excited and we all should enjoy this because we haven't had much to be joyful about with the Braves so far this year.
True.
But if you come out tomorrow and the offense lays another egg, if Chris Sale doesn't have it, it takes all of this momentum away and you're starting back over again. At some point you have to get on a roll. And it does seem like, the great time for it, especially because Sunday's matchup isn't quite as favorable with Ryan against Holmes. That's not one on paper that you're probably going to be favored in. No. So this is the game on Saturday where you feel like Chris Sale, can he put it all together? The stuff looked good last time, but the location was off. Can he put it all together and get that back-to-back wins for the Braves? Go ahead and get them a series and just get them on a roll and continue this momentum.
Yeah. Again, 7:15 is that game. We will have a postcast for you after that is done. And for those of you who stay up late, MLB Game Night. We'll recap the entire night's action after the final game is concluded. If you're listening on audio, do us a favor. Leave us a 5-star review, Apple, Spotify, whatever Google uses for their podcast nowadays. If you're on YouTube, subscribe to both Locked On Sports Atlanta and Locked On Braves. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live to talk about Braves, or they're going to break down the Hawks game coming up in just a few minutes, a Hawks Postcast over there on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Until next time, this has been the Braves Postcast.